What's up, guys? Welcome back to more Reddit stories about Karens, crazy people, and all that kind of stuff. And as usual, today we'll be checking out some more Reddit posts. So feel free to share your thoughts about today's stories down in the comments and let's get into it. My neighbor keeps trying to break into my apartment. So here's a fun little mystery from my building. Every single day, morning and evening, at 5 a.m. and again at 10 p.m. like clockwork, my neighbor tries to open my apartment door with the handle like it's his. No key, just a firm jiggle of the handle before he realizes it's not opening and casually walks away. For context, I'm a 22-year-old woman living alone. He's probably in his 50s or 60s, not super chatty, talks to himself a lot though, like full conversations, alone. Also, and I swear I'm not making this up, when he leaves his own apartment, he closes the door and then rings his own doorbell. Every time. No one ever answers. I have so many questions. At first, I thought honest mistake, but the thing is, he's been living here longer than I have, so he should know which door is his, right? But we are now weeks into this daily routine. Sir, I promise you, this has never been your apartment. It wasn't yesterday, it won't be tomorrow. And yet he persists. Like maybe one day the stars will align, and suddenly the door will open and he'll walk into a parallel universe or something. I've decided to slip a polite little note into his mailbox. Something friendly but clear just to say, hey, please stop trying to open my door, thanks. Maybe that'll be the end of it, or maybe he'll just start knocking for good measure, who knows. I'm considering leaving a note on the door, a sign, something like, still not your door, champ, or just embrace the chaos and start waving through the peephole every time he tries. They wanted my entire couch for free, then got mad it wouldn't fit in their bike trailer. So I recently listed an old but perfectly good couch on Facebook Marketplace for $50. Within an hour, I get a message from someone. She asked if the couch was still available. I told her it was. She asked if I would take 30, saying she could pick it up same day. I explained that I'm firm on the 50 because it's in great condition and already priced low. She pulls the classic and tells me she's a single mom with 3 kids and really needs a couch, that it would be so kind of me to help out. I totally understand, but I need the money too, so I insisted on the 50. She finally agrees to take it and says she'll be there in an hour. An hour later, I get a text, outside. I go out and she's literally standing next to a bike, with a small trailer hitched to it, like one of those ones you haul groceries or toddlers in. I told her there's no way the couch was going to fit on that. She explained that if I help her tie it on, it would, and maybe if we break the legs off, it'll fit. I say no. Also, I'm not destroying a $50 couch just so you can attempt to bike it home. She got angry and said I should have mentioned it wasn't bike transportable. What a waste of my time, you clearly don't want to help people, she said. So not only did she want it for peanuts, she was ready to dismantle it to jam it into a bike trailer like some kind of IKEA speedrun. No flags allowed. When I moved into my HOA neighborhood, I'd asked if we were allowed to put up flags. The president said no sports flags, and that was that. I hung up a purple Labras pride flag for my partner and within 24 hours received a phone call that I had to take it down. And I just looked it up, by the way, and the purple Labras is a lesbian pride flag, just for context. I questioned why and was told, only the American flag is allowed. Okay, fair enough, I took it down. When driving around the neighborhood a while later, I noticed multiple neighbors had various political candidate flags hanging from their homes. I questioned the legality of this regarding the HOA terms and was told they were okay. I mentioned that I was told only American flags are allowed, and was told there was nothing they could do. Little instances like this kept occurring where the president would spend too much time poking around my house. I'd politely confront him and was pretty routinely met with rather abrasive response. It got to the point where this guy would harass my kid when she was outside playing. That's a different story though. This seemed suspicious to me, so I did a little digging to find that the HOA president is simply homophobic, disowned his gay son, etc. The solution was simple. I couldn't hang a rainbow flag outside, but they have no control of what is inside my house. Every street-facing curtain was replaced with a glaring rainbow pride flag. The screen front door, pride flag. My garden lights, rainbow. My potted plants, every single one, 20 plus, got many pride flags in them. We can't have yard signs, but we can have planters. So I found on clearance at the craft store big cardboard cutout letters, "Love Wins," and a rainbow. Each one went into a planter across my garden. They can't tell me what I can have on my windows, so window paint, Happy Pride, and rainbows on every single one. Can't tell me what my car can look like, rainbow sunscreen, 2 giant rainbow heart stickers, pride flag window flags. I put up a security camera and a big "Smile, you're on camera" sign. I'm not really a rainbows and pride decor kind of person. It's just not my thing, and typically I prefer to just go about my business and lay low. I am, however, incredibly petty. And the best part of this all is that I am the first most visible house in the neighborhood. At this point in time, the president has stepped down due to stress, though it may or may not be related to this incident. Yeah, you gotta love the hypocrisy. Oh yeah, flags are allowed, go ahead. Wait, no, not that though. Time to enforce some made-up rules whenever I see something that I personally don't like. Definitely no prejudice here, just looking out for the safety and integrity of the neighborhood. Neighbor drives through my yard and dumps their garbage on my property. I've been dealing with some bad neighbors for 3 years now. I thought I'd share my story both for entertainment value, but also ask, what would you do differently in my situation? The context behind the neighbors: an old man lives there who had a wife that passed away before I moved in. Now some younger people from the projects who aren't related to him take advantage of him and live with him rent-free. How they met, I don't know. Despite the less than reputable characters that live with him, the old man is the biggest thorn in my side. I wish I could post pictures in the subreddit, but I'll just have to describe it. My house is situated further back from the road than theirs. I can see into their backyard from my front door. The old man likes to drive into his yard and pull up to his front door to unload groceries, so he doesn't have to walk as far to take them in the house. I understand that part. The problem is, he pulls down my driveway, then across my yard to get to his front door. It kills my grass and leaves ruts in the yard. The next time I saw him outside, I asked him to stop driving in my yard, and he said he would, but he kept doing it. A second time I asked him to stop, and again, it didn't stop. After the third, I was angry, so I went to his house and pounded on the door, but nobody answered. I went home, wrote an angry note, and package taped it to his door, threatening to call the police if it happened again. Surprise, it happened again. So after the 4th time it happened, I went to the police, and the police told him to stop, and he did. To this day, he hasn't driven in my yard, thank goodness, but the story doesn't end here. After my trouble with them, I put Ring cameras up on my property, and last month my cameras caught something baffling. He dumped a big box TV on my property. I have a huge yard and a lot of land. I even own some woods. He rode his lawnmower into my front yard, down my side yard, and into my backyard all the way to my woods, and dumped a box TV back there. It wasn't even 3 feet into the woods. You know, rather than leave it by the curb for the garbage company to recycle for free, he had to get rid of it on my property. The audacity. So naturally, I took a picture of the TV and pulled the recordings from my cameras and took it to the police. The police are charging him with littering and forcing him to remove the TV and dispose of it properly, as well as trespassing him from my property. He'll be hit with criminal mischief if he sets even a foot on my property again. There was one morning last year where I woke up to go to work in the morning and there were like 10 local police cars and state cops all outside his house. Here the people from the projects that were living with him were dealing drugs out of his house, and they were doing a bust on them. Everyone but the old man was arrested, and they just got let out of jail this month and are back in the house. I really just need to move. It's a shame because I live in such a nice neighborhood. It's the reason I even picked the house, the location. I've talked to my other neighbors about the bad neighbors, and they said everything was fine before the old man's wife died. But now he almost seems like he has dementia and is being taken advantage of by some bad people. And now I have drug dealers and trespassers right next door. F my life. Update. Yesterday my camera caught my neighbor leaving a handwritten note on my door that I read when I got home from work, and I also heard from the police regarding the TV. I'll start with the conversation I had with the police and leeway into the note he left on my door. The police had been trying to reach my neighbor by phone for the last week, and had made multiple visits to their house to tell him to remove the TV, but he wasn't answering his phone or the door. So the officers on duty have been making routine visits on our street to see if they could catch him outside, and they finally did. They told him he had to remove the TV, and he was livid, naturally. He tried to claim that the property wasn't mine and was his. It's mine. Not sure why he thinks otherwise, considering a fence separates our properties, and that he could do what he wants. The officer said whether it was mine or his was irrelevant, as littering is littering and you can't dispose of electric waste by dropping it in the woods and pretending it isn't there. So they told him he had to dispose of it properly. And they told me if the TV isn't gone in 3 to 4 days to call them again, and they're going to give him a citation for it. So that was yesterday that this conversation happened between them. Around lunchtime was when my Ring camera caught him leaving the note. The note said along the lines of, "I am giving you until June 1st to trim branches of a tree on your property that are dropping leaves and twigs into my property, or I'm filing a civil suit against you. I'm tired of picking up the sticks and leaves dropped on my yard by your tree." So naturally, the first thing I did was look up my state and local laws, and also went to the police station to notify the officers that this happened, so they were aware of it and could make a report. The officers at the station told me not to worry about it. They know what he's like, and he wouldn't actually go through with it. He's just mad that I got him in trouble and is taking it out on me with any excuse he can come up with, and the officers told me it's not my responsibility to take care of it. Our state and local laws state that it's not the responsibility of the owner to trim branches that protrude over property line, but that property owner that it is protruding on is allowed to cut back the branches back off of their property line. Whether you agree with that or not is up to you, but that's the law that I both read and that the police department informed me of. But here's the thing. The tree is healthy and it's not dropping large branches or anything of the sort, nor does it go over anything that would cause damage to his property. Even if it did, insurance takes care of that. It's not my responsibility. He's obviously butthurt about me getting him in trouble these last few months and is reaching at anything he possibly can to cause trouble for me like I have for him. Unfortunately, I'm an upstanding citizen and he has no grounds to get me in trouble with anything. Also, our police department and local government despises him and his residents so much that even if this somehow does go to court, his word is nothing compared to mine. So I'm calling his bluff and ignoring him. I know him well enough at this point too. I'm not giving him the attention he wants. If he would have been kind about the situation and had a respectful conversation with me about the tree, I would have been a lot more considerate, but he didn't even talk to me about it. Now that he thinks he can threaten me, he can forget it. The amount he's inconvenienced me severely outweighs leaves falling from my tree into his yard. Maybe when he stops driving across my yard and dumping garbage on my property and trespassing, I'll think about whether or not to help him. I can't believe there's people on this planet so selfish. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. So take care, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next one.